So in this video, we're going to talk about tell me about yourself question. That is like one of the fundamental frequently asked question in HR interviews. So let's try to see what are the things that I should talk about in answering this while I answer this question. So tell me about yourself is one of the most frequently asked HR questions. So we sort of, thought of 6 key areas that you should touch upon when you answer this question. Make sure that the answer is generally within 1 minute time frame. Don't make it too long so that it bores them, or don't make it too short that you don't give them enough things to, hear about you and sort of question from there. So this question is basically asked for a couple of reasons. Number one, they want to know some details from you so that they can build the interview on top of that. And number two, they want to, use it as an icebreaker, something that you are more comfortable. The most easiest thing to do or talk about for a human being ideally should be about himself or herself, right? So that's what they're asking. So that should be ideally be easy for you, right? So make sure that you touch upon these 6 things when you answer the question that tell me about yourself. The depth in which you go and touch upon each area depends upon how long are they giving you, right? Sometimes they could specifically ask you to take 2 minutes, etc. So according to that, you can go a bit more detailed. Otherwise, try to maintain 1 to 2 lines on each of these details so that it will come around 10 to 12 lines that will take 1 minute of your time to answer this question. So the basic details like name, hometown, college, and what have you studied, etc. Then if you have more time, maybe you can talk about your family background as well, like your parents, siblings, etc. That's an optional thing. Fundamentally, we feel that you can skip it if it's shorter answer that you're looking at, less than a minute. If you're looking for longer, maybe that's a good thing to add upon. Then professional experience, if you already have worked, you can talk about that. If it's your first job, maybe then it makes sense to talk about your internships and projects, to just tell them something relevant to the work at the job that you have applied for. Then hobbies, interesting hobbies will definitely help you a lot in the whole overall interview. And then a couple of strengths to highlight about yourself. And finally, you should end up with the goals that you have for your career, like the short-term goals and the long-term goals. So this is how we have framed a sample answer, right? As we said, this is not like the way you need to build as such, but rather we have just tried to build a sample answer covering those 5-6 key areas that we have just covered, right? So that you get a gist or understanding of how you have to build your own answer. Obviously things will change. You can focus on certain things which are more interesting or more important for you than what we have done here. So don't just take this as the final answer or something that you need to stick to. Rather, it's more like a guidance for you to build your answer. So first part, hello sir, ma'am, my name is XYZ and I'm from so and so city. I did my schooling from so and so school and completed, or if you're still doing, I'm pursuing my graduation in whatever the degree you're doing from particular college. So this part is the first area, the basic details part. Right, then we have not touched the family part. You can add as well those elements if you want to make it slightly longer. I'm currently working in a particular company as a so and so, like if you're a software developer or maybe an analyst or anything, and my project deals with something. So just go about giving slight details. Don't give too many details. If they're interested, they'll probe into that, but rather just to give a gist of what you're doing with some project details. And also, if you have not worked, right, if you're a fresher, you're sitting for a job, then maybe you can talk about your internship. I worked for so and so company as an intern. If you worked as a software developer, let's say the software developer intern for so and so duration, and then my project dealt with dealing with particular thing. Maybe you can talk about the languages or maybe something relevant to that. So this is basically your professional experience. Then we are talking about the hobbies. When I'm not working, I unwind myself by playing computer games and watching documentary films. So whatever the hobbies that you have, you can talk about your hobbies. So then we're talking about your strengths. I'm an optimistic person and always try to give my best in whatever I do. So my family and I have lived in several different states when I was younger. So I've come in contact with people from diverse cultures. This has made me very adaptable. So a couple of strengths like optimistic person or optimism and adaptability. So these are the strengths that we are talking about. And then we're talking about the goals. In the short term, I would like to get into a good company like yours. where I can contribute with my skills and develop myself to become better. In the long term, I would like to be in a senior position in a good firm like yours, where I can involve in decision making process. So we don't know what we mean by long term. Generally we can talk about like 15 years, 20 years time frame, right? So that's what we look at the long run, and we definitely don't know what path are we going to take in our career at that time, because it's too early to sort of stick to what we believe right now, right? Things will change, we sort of evolve, we sort of understand how various things work, and we might change our decision. But so this is a very generic answer, saying that I would like to be in a senior position in a good firm where I can involve in decision making process to help the firm grow and contribute to society as well, something like that. This is a very generic one. Doesn't matter which industry you're looking at or what job profile you're looking at, this is going to work for you, right? You just got to customize it, add certain things, like I would like to get started as a software developer in a good company like yours, or maybe as a software engineer if you're looking for tester, maybe as a tester, whatever the job role be. So that should be something relevant to what you've applied, and that should be your short-term goals, right? So this would be your goals. So this is what you can take as an example and build your own tell me about yourself answer, right? Basic details, professional experience, hobbies, strengths and goals. If you want to add, you can also add the family details after the basic details, right? All together it will take you maybe 10 to 12 lines and sort of 1 minute, right? As we said, take this as a good example and build your own answer and focus which are more relevant to you, and maybe slightly cut down things which are not that relevant for you. So there are other variations, that are very similar to tell me about yourself, like tell me about yourself in 2 minutes, in 2 lines, and tell me about yourself which is not written in the form, right? So things like this are slight variations to it, right? Whatever we have discussed would work for the first two. Just make sure that you prepare for a 1 minute answer. That's a normal thing that you have to do. If they specifically ask you for a longer duration like 2 minutes, make sure that you have enough content to talk about for 2 minutes. Tell me about yourself in 2 lines. This should be covering those 5-6 areas that you have just talked, but just make sure that you wrap them in a couple of lines, like I am so and so, I've done so and so. That all of your basic details should be in one part, right? And then talk about I am, like your strengths, and then mix your goals in that. So basically they will be long and complex sentences. You don't have to come up with 5-6 word sentences. Rather, if you want to answer tell me about yourself in 2 lines, build an answer which would be slightly longer. So when they say 2 sentences or 2 lines, it does not necessarily need to be in just 5-6 words each line, right? So you can take slightly longer sentences by clubbing couple of things. So maybe you can talk about strengths and goals, right? That's like something that you have to, maybe you can skip the long term goals, talk about the short term goals, and talk about your basic details. If you are working, you can talk about your current experience as well in your basic details. You can leave your hobbies, you can leave your long term goals, you can leave your family, and you can leave your strengths. I mean, in depth, you don't have to talk about your strengths. Try to cover other things in your couple of lines. Tell me about yourself which is not written in the form. Sometimes companies do ask it when they have a form that you would have submitted for the interview. Make sure that you go through the form and tick the things which are not written in the form. I mean, note down the things which are not written in the form, and then build that answer for this particular question, right? You don't have to go and talk something new. Let's say hobbies are already written in the form, so don't touch the hobbies. Your goals wouldn't generally wouldn't be mentioned unless you have written career objective and have written about it. Maybe if your short-term goals are not talked upon, pick that. So make sure that you're talking about things which are not written in the form. That's something that you can do once you study the form properly. So thank you for watching this video. If you're watching this video in the YouTube channel, make sure that you check out our full-length courses available for free at gtcube.com/store. It will help you in whatever the exams you're looking at. Also like our Facebook partners Facebook page, facebook.com/gtcube3, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We're coming up with a lot of videos and content that would help you in your preparation. So don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.